Alrighty guys, here we are. And as you can tell by the title, this video will have something to do with politics. I don't really want to talk about politics or get into policy or my personal opinions or anything like that. I don't really want to talk about those details. I just want to talk about how one's political opinions and beliefs will affect their experience when living overseas. And I want to talk about the experience that I've had. I want to rant a little bit because it's frustrating, and I also want to give some advice to any of you out there who might be willing to listen. Whether you're on the right or the left, I think what I have to say is very useful. I had the idea to make this video 2 years ago, but I decided against it. But now it's gotten so out of hand with the election and stuff and everything that's coming up. I just want to make this and get this out there and hopefully help some people and make the situation a little bit better. If I can just make it a little bit better, I'll be happy. So yes, I am a conservative, as you can tell by the title of the video, and I'm an American, so I'm going to be speaking from an American's perspective, but I'm sure this could also relate to other politics from other countries as well, because conservatism as an idea is something that exists everywhere. You know, maybe if you're from the UK or from somewhere like Australia or something, maybe you won't know exactly all the things I'm talking about or how I feel as far as like the specifics, but I'm sure on some level you can relate. So please give it a listen. Okay, so as a conservative, I just want to say that I have felt very, very isolated by living overseas and on my jet experience. It's my third year now, and there are people who absolutely treat me very differently once they find out my political opinions. So I've just felt very, very isolated, and I'm not like going to be a pussy about it. I don't really care like what anyone says. Like, I'm me. I'm unapologetically me. I've lost friends in the past. I lost friends in 2016 when I said I'm voting for Trump. Kid you not, they did not talk to me. We were very close, like super close, good friends since high school. And then the election hit, and they refused to talk to me. And so this is my first rodeo, and I think that helps a lot with this. But it's different because I'm overseas, and you know, I don't have my group from back home, right? So where I'm from, even though I'm from a very liberal part of America, I'm from Detroit. You know, I had friends of all different political beliefs. I don't really care. Like, as long as you treat me and you treat the people around you well, I don't really care what you think politically. I tend not to discuss these things with people if we disagree, because it's just going to end up in arguments. So we tend to avoid these topics, and that's fine. And I do have some friends like that here too. So shout out to all of you who are not in your face, bombastic kind of jerks about your beliefs. So thank you, even to my friends who disagree. But honestly, those people are rare. They're very rare on the left. And I know there's people like that on the right too, but from what I've seen, just especially as a young person, we're always so outnumbered as conservatives. We have no choice but to kind of hang out with people who disagree with us, or else we won't really have a lot of social circles that we can belong to if we're not willing to do that. So I don't really have the luxury of living in a bubble, and I don't really want to live in a bubble, but I think that's something that's created some of the problems anyways. And so it's different because I live overseas now, and I don't really have my group. So it's like, you know, if none of my friends are conservatives, and I'm kind of being shunned out of the group a little bit, like it's always like low key, not always, but it's usually low key, right? Like once your position comes out, people will be like, oh, like, I didn't know you like Trump. And it's like you're pretty much a Nazi. They'll never say that, but like they always hint towards that, right? So okay, fine. I noticed that, you know, people do treat me differently and stuff like that, so it does feel very isolating. So if you are a conservative thinking about the JET program or just being an expat or living overseas in general, just be well aware that, you know, even just statistically, most people who travel or live overseas are liberal, and that's fine. I mean, it makes sense. Conservatives, you know, are all about their country and all that stuff, and so they tend to not move around and stuff like that. But just be prepared for that social backlash. My advice to you would be, don't let people bully you out of your opinion. Don't be a bombastic jerk like some people are. Just don't. Always be respectful. Always be polite. But stick to your guns. you know, in the end, like, truth wins. Like, that's the way I see it. Like, I will gladly debate anyone on any of these topics, and I'm not even going to say I'm going to change your mind, because sometimes it's just a difference of philosophy. But basically, I know what I believe and why I believe it, and I stick to my guns. And if people want to, like, not be my friend because of that, fine, they're lost. I'm a great guy. I'm a great person to have as a friend. And I think my friends who do strongly disagree with me politically, but still see, like, how I'm a principled person, and I, do treat people well, and do treat even people who disagree with me well. They see that, and they're like, well, he's a really good guy, and even though I truly, truly disagree with him politically, I still want him to be my friend, and I'm not going to think less of him for his opinion. And I absolutely think the same way. Like, I have some great, great friends who are super far left. Personally, I couldn't disagree with them more as far as politics or policy goes, but I do not doubt their character and that they care about people. And I think they would say the same for me. So I think that's an important aspect to it. But a big problem is that the media has just, like, kind of painted all, like, conservatives or Trump supporters as, like, these Nazis, right? So, like, when most people imagine, like, a Trump supporter, they imagine a, like, redneck kind of lower middle class or poor white farmer from the South chasing gays and black people around with a pitchfork in Alabama. You know what I'm saying? So when they meet, like, a young, articulate, minority Trump supporter, they kind of freeze. You know, like, you ever play N64? Like, you're playing, it's like, that doesn't mean that, like, I'm always right and they're always wrong. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is kind of burst their bubble, because they do kind of exist in this bubble because everyone agrees with them. And a big part of that is because they design it that way. Like, this whole exclude people, cancel culture. Anyone who disagrees is hateful and, sexist and racist and transphobic and homophobic and blah, blah, blah. You guys are just creating bubbles for yourselves, right? So when you encounter someone who doesn't think like you, it kind of makes you sweat. And you're like, what do I do? Cannot compute, right? So, and you just label these people as horrible people when in fact that is just not true. Of course, people on the right do this too, which is why they just think some people on the right will label everyone on the left like some crazy, like, freeloaders or whatever, insane liberals. And it's like, yeah, definitely they exist, okay, and, like, shitty people exist on the right too. But, can we not give each other the benefit of the doubt? Especially if we're, like, sitting there having a meal together, like, we're just hanging out. Can you not give me the benefit of the doubt? Like, I've had people just straight up scream in my face and said that I'm supporting, like, a racist white supremacist, even though I can turn around and talk about all the history of the Democratic Party and their policies and how they've, hurt the black community a lot, and how I think conservative policies would help. It doesn't matter. It doesn't fit the narrative, so it doesn't communicate. So my advice to you guys, simply put, I kind of got off on a tangent there, but my advice to you is to just be aware of it, and don't let it make you so callous to the point where you start hating people, because that is a temptation. You just say, okay, well, they say F you to me, so I'm going to say F you right back, and I'm just going to only hang out with people who agree with me. And that's, well, first of all, you're not going to have that option. I'm sorry. Like, you're not. Like, I have not met one conservative, not one, foreign conservative from any country living in Japan, in Akita, in my community. Not one. So you're not going to have that luxury of just hanging out with people who agree with you. Reversely, you'll have to be with people who are opposed to you, who talk shit about you on social media, who say that you support a white supremacist, who say that you support a Nazi. So, pick and choose your battles. Don't let people, control what you think, and don't let them play that mind game with you and make you think that you're actually a bad person or that you're wrong. Because, have your thoughts and your beliefs well, consider them within yourself. And, once you've come to your conclusions, have respectful discussions and let that be it. If you disagree with someone, disagree, but still try and enjoy their presence. That's my philosophy, and that would be my advice to you. Now, my advice to those of you on the left, please, I beg you, I'm honestly begging you, not only for my sake, not only for your sake, but for the sake of, like, civil discourse, for the sake of future generations. Like, stop demonizing people who simply disagree with you. There are good people who disagree with you. Straight up.
Just, you guys know, like, those religious people who, like, maybe they're actually, like, kind of nice and decent people, but, like, any opportunity they get, they kind of, like, you know, slip in comments about how they're better than you, right? About, like, you're a sinner. And, like, well, you know, it's like, I get it, but, like, still, though, like, I'm just, like, one step above you because I believe this or I don't do that. And it's like, you know, you're in a group and you're hanging out and you're just like, dude, like, what are you doing? Like, can you just, like, live and let live? Like, you live your life, I'll live my life. If I ask you, you can tell me. But you don't have to tell me every opportunity to get, like, what a bad person I am. The new religion is leftism. And it really has gotten to the point where they don't really realize these people that are constantly shouting and screaming at people and canceling people and demonizing people don't even realize from the outside we know it's disgraceful, it's bad. Like you are like basically crapping on people who are very decent people simply because they have a difference of opinion than you. I mean that's why would you want to do that? And even just from a practical perspective, if you were trying to bring people over to your side, you don't do that by telling people how horrible they are. You befriend them, you get to know them, you have civil discourse with them. But you know, of course, like I would never advise, don't go into a relationship trying to like convert somebody. I would tell it to a Christian, I would tell that to someone politically as well. But like just, you know, just stop and think about it. Don't be that person who has to always slip in like, oh, like these conservatives and like America sucks ass and like, it's like, I just hear this stuff all the time and I'm just like I can tell you guys are just like, you're always surrounded by people who agree with you. And, you know, sometimes I say something because it's too much and I'm always respectful about it. But I know it never ends well because I'm never going to change their mind and no one's going to change my mind. But, you know, it's like, most times I just let it go and I'm like, okay, I'm trying to enjoy their company. You know, but I wish people would realize, like, you are not doing the right thing by doing that. You're not. You think you are because you think that everyone who disagrees with you is evil and a Nazi, but it's not true. It's not true. And the sooner you realize that, the sooner you will stop being such an unbearable person to be around. And I think it will enrich your life. I think it will, and I hope that, you know, and I'm guilty of this. I you know, 4 or 5 years ago, I was totally that guy, just like with my religion and my politics, to just let it go anytime I wanted to, and just kind of like low key try and roast people and like, oh, is this and this and that, and it's like, you know, well, when you grow, like you realize that that's not right, and it's just annoying. Just like, don't do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, be an adult. Realize that the world is more complex than you realize, you know? Like some of my best friends here, like actually like all of my close friends here actually are people who disagree with me strongly politically. But the people who don't let that get in the way of our friendship are the best kind of people. You know, the idea of living overseas is that you would expand your own way of thinking and challenge your own personal views. But I'm not seeing a whole lot of that here. People just kind of try and push their views on people. Like, even like, it's so funny, like they're trying to push their own values on like very conservative Japanese people here in the countryside. And I'm just like, you're an embarrassment. Just like, oh my gosh, just stop. Like, life is just like, do you not know anything about like sociology or human psychology? Like, anyways, thanks for letting me rant. I hope someone gets something out of this. If not, well, hey, at least it was, you know, a little entertaining, hopefully. Anyways, yeah, like I said, not really committing a whole lot of time to YouTube these days. Still studying and doing a lot of other side translation work. So, yeah, we'll see what it is. But I do miss doing YouTube videos, and somehow my subscribers are like slowly going up, even though I'm not even like doing anything. So I don't know how that's happening. But if you guys have any video topics or things you would want me to talk about, let me know. I'd be happy to do that. But yeah, until next time, God bless, and I'll see you guys later. Peace out.